everyone, and welcome to another edition of 2A Arsenal Roundup News. My name is Richard Espinoza, and I am your host. We are one of your primary sources for Second Amendment news, whether if it's good, bad, or ugly, whether if it will benefit your Second Amendment rights or do harm to your Second Amendment rights, whether it happens in blue states or red states. We report it to you as humanly possible and give you the information that you need to protect your Second Amendment rights. First of all, I want to take this time and say that my heart is broken right now for what has happened in Minnesota. As you already know, another transgender murderer committed another crime. This individual is none other than Robin Westman. That's the name of the suspect. And he's not the first and probably not going to be the last transgender person to commit a mass murder. Of course, he ended up committing suicide. We have a list of transgenders who are shooting at schools, shooting at churches, but yet the Democrats want to continue to blame people like me or continue to blame law-abiding citizens for what has happened, for these recent shootings. Each time these shootings happen, I'm being blamed, you're being blamed, and every law-abiding citizen in America is being blamed. And you just can't hate politicians enough for every time these happenings, because they're the ones who started it. The person I hold responsible, I'm going to give you a list of people who I hold responsible for what happened in Minnesota. First of all, the Democrats, particularly them, they cannot accept the fact that transgenderism is a mental disorder. It's not about adversity like they want to treat it. It's not about DEI, diversity, equity, and conclusion. It's a mental disease. People who think that they're a girl, a guy that thinks he's a girl, has mental problems. A girl that thinks they're a guy has mental problems. They don't want to accept it. But yet again, they call you racist, they call you a homophobe. They play every trick out of the book to accuse you of being hateful, but yet they are the ones who are monsters. They support mutilation of kids losing their genitals just to satisfy their means. Let's start off with Governor Tim Walz. How Tim Walz even got elected in the first place is beyond me. Either the people of Minnesota are stupid, or he cheated his way to becoming governor. Make your pick. That's my take. He cheated his way to becoming the governor of Minnesota, or people are just that stupid to vote for him. And those who voted for Tim Walz, you should be ashamed of yourself. This is a guy who encourages transgenderism and refuses to look at the fact that it's a mental disorder. It is. This is not about racism. This is not about bigotry or about being xenophobic or homophobic. It is a mental disease, period. End of story. You can say whatever you want about me. I don't care. I'm going to tell you the truth. The truth is it's a mental disease. Transgenderism is a mental disease. Any person that calls themselves non-binary are sick in the head. They have mental problems. How hard is it to recognize that? But the Democrats don't care. You know why? Because they use it to their advantage. They promote this stuff to destroy America, to destroy our constitutional rights. They use transgender people as pawns for political gain. Let's go back to the 1960s, when then Soviet Union Secretary Nikita Khrushchev was bent on hell and destruction to destroy America, destroy our constitutional values. He said that one day America will accept communism. Unfortunately, he's correct. Look no further than the Democrat Party. After John F. Kennedy was assassinated, the Democrat Party has become the new Communist Party. Now, technically, the communist governments would look at transgender people as being nutcases. They would lock them up. Any guy that thought that they were a girl, the communist government would choke these people. They would lock them up and torture them. Same thing in Muslim countries. They do the same thing. However, people like Nikita Khrushchev and the rest of these communist collaborators, they use this to their advantage. They use brainwashing as a tool to destroy America. Now, people like Nikita Khrushchev would normally lock people up. Those who, if you find dudes that dress up in drag and wigs and what have you, that wear women's clothes, normally they would lock them up. But because they know that they can use this to their advantage, the communists are promoting it. And another person I blame is the Biden administration for this nonsense. Particularly Dr. Richard Levine, who now goes by the name Rachel Levine, but I'm going to call him by his real name, Richard Levine. As far as I'm concerned, Richard Levine needs to be locked up in a mental institution. For him to support a gender-affirming care, that's child abuse. I don't care what anybody says, it's child abuse. If you support a gender-affirming care, you're supporting child abuse. That's what it is. But the moment that the members of the transgender community, the LGBT community, becomes violent and they use guns to kill people, the first people that the Democrats want to blame is you. They want to blame you. Okay, but here's the irony of all this. The irony of all this is if you go back in the early 2010s or the late 2010s, during the time when Donald Trump first ran for president, I believe when this incident happened, some Democratic nut job who was a Democrat used an SKS to shoot Republicans at a softball game. The Democrats remained silent. They didn't say a damn word. But if the shooter does not fit their narrative, if they see a white guy that does it, they're quickly to jump and blame you. If they find somebody that doesn't share their own political views and this person commits a crime with a gun, they're going to blame you and demand for more gun control, but yet they were silent. When that nut job Thomas Crooks attempted to shoot President Trump, it's funny all of a sudden the Democrats want to promote gun control or stricter gun laws. How is stricter gun laws going to stop a shooter? We all know that cocaine is illegal, right? But people still buy it. We know that heroin is illegal, but people still buy it. We all know that fentanyl that's going out in the streets is making people drop like dead like flies, and they still get it. So how are you going to stop with guns? Washington, D.C., before the Dick Heller case, already had some of the most strictest gun laws in the United States, making it nearly impossible for a law-abiding citizen to own a firearm. But yet, criminals still get guns. The truth of the matter is that the Democrats did this on purpose so that they can stay in power, so that they can do further damage to your Second Amendment rights. But let's talk about another person I will blame. I also blame Minnesota Representatives Ilhan Omar and Sharita Tlaib. I do not buy Representative Omar being sympathetic towards those kids who got killed. She's responsible for all this because of her hatred towards Christians. It's in her DNA to hate Christians. It's in her DNA to hate American values. She did not become a congresswoman for the greater good of America. I'm sorry, but she didn't. She didn't run for office to make a difference for America. She ran for office to destroy America. And I guarantee you, Ilhan Omar is probably laughing right now. We all know those crocodile tears that she made was fake and phony. Everybody knows it. If you're smart enough to recognize it, it's fake tears. Same thing with Sharita Tlaib. It's in her blood and it's in her DNA to hate Christians, to hate Catholics, to hate Jews. If you don't accept Islam, you are their enemy. Why they are still in office is beyond me. They should be removed from office. But a lot has to do with the Rhino Republicans who don't have the balls to do it because they have a fear of being called racist, being called bigots. They don't have the balls to do it. And the list goes on. The Democrats are responsible for these transgender people for committing these crimes because they encourage it. But yet, when they commit a crime, they say, oh, it's the gun's fault. How is it the gun's fault? I can leave a gun on a table loaded and it won't move unless somebody picks it up and uses and shoots it. We have people that kill people with baseball bats. Never once have I heard the Democrats demand bans on people owning baseball bats. You have people stabbing people with knives, but yet I don't hear the Democrats wanting a ban on knives. I see people running people over on cars on purpose, but I don't see the Democrats calling for a ban on cars. But when it's a gun, oh yeah, they want to ban it. Why? Because it's called political populism. Because they're in the pocket of people like Michael Bloomberg or George Soros and all these anti-gun billionaires who want to destroy our rights. And the next person I like to blame is Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey. He encourages this nonsense because he's sitting there defending Governor Tim Walz's support for tampons in men's bathrooms and supporting transgenderism when they don't want to recognize the fact it's a mental disease. But yet they're the ones who want to defund the police, and they're the ones who are responsible for the crimes being committed. We remain silent. But I'm not. Because I'm going to tell you what it is. I'm going to tell you what it is. It is what it is. The Democrats are responsible for this. They purposely promote transgenderism, and they use transgender people as pawns to commit political violence. They do it on purpose. They use people. As far as I'm concerned, it's child abuse. Now, it's one thing if a grown adult who's past the age of 18 decides to get their genitals mutilated, it's on them. But still, they still have a mental illness. But when you want to transform a boy into a girl or a girl into a boy and they're underage, that right there is child abuse. I don't care what anybody thinks or says. You can call me what you want. I don't care. The truth is the truth. And the truth is it's child abuse. But yet they want to blame the guns. They want to blame Christians or conservatives for what the transgender community has done. They did it to themselves because they're mentally ill. And I think Dr. Michael Savage said it best. Liberalism is a mental disorder, and it is. And then, worst of all, we now have another anti-gun clown out on the loose by the name of Miriam Mitchell is her name. She was a former assistant director for the ATF, who now works for Michael Bloomberg's so-called every town for gun safety, or should I call it for every town for not so gun safety. She wants to ban Glock handguns, calling them killer handgun machines. But yet again, she don't want to put the blame where the blame goes. It goes on the criminals. So I would ask her this question, or ask any of these politicians these questions. How am I responsible as a law-abiding citizen who owns an AR-15 and I just peacefully go to the gun range and shoot my AR-15 without hurting anybody, just shooting targets, having fun? How am I responsible for somebody like Robin Westman for committing these heinous crimes? How am I responsible? How? How am I responsible? I'm not. You're responsible for, number one, because you don't want to recognize the fact that transgenderism is a mental disorder. It's a sickness. That's number one. You don't want to accept it, but yet you embrace it and promote it. It's your fault. Second, You can blame these corrupt judges. You can blame all these corrupt judges and these corrupt prosecutors who are giving sweetheart deals to these criminals, and they go back out in the street and do it again. But you have the power to do something about it, people. I encourage you to call your congressman, call your U.S. senators, especially the ones that support a gender-affirming care. You tell them they're supporting child abuse and that you'll do everything in your power to vote them out of office. The people of Minnesota, if you have any balls, you should tell Tim Walz to resign as governor immediately, because the blood is on him. Tim Walz needs to be held accountable. Blame him. You're your own worst enemy when you remain silent, you don't call your elected officials and tell them where you stand. That's how our gun rights are being demolished, because we are being silent. They don't want to separate law-abiding citizens from criminals, because in their eyes, law-abiding citizens and criminals are all the same in their eyes. And if they think that way, you need to vote them out. Well, that is it for 2A Arsenal Roundup News. Please subscribe to my videos. I need as many subscribers as possible. Give me a like on the videos, and please don't be afraid to leave a comment, whether if you agree or disagree. I will respect your opinion regardless. And if you have any important legislation that you want me to know about and you want to bring it out into the open, please feel free to send me an email at rjespinoza, that's RJESPINOZA .roundupnews@gmail.com. Tell me what city you're from. Tell me what state you're from. Tell me about the legislation. Is it good or bad? Will it help protect your Second Amendment rights, or will it do harm to your Second Amendment rights? Let me know what this bill is about. I'll look into it, and I'll be sure to broadcast it on my next YouTube video. But until then, be armed, be safe, be vigilant, and remember, law-abiding citizens, it's not your fault for what these crazy people did. Stand up and fight, and tell these politicians to get with the program, but most importantly, tell them if they're against your rights, you will vote them out. They will listen when you hear that word, vote them out. Have a great day.